couple of minutes, I guess.
Okay, great.
But we can get started.
Yes. So thank you. This is a very, hopefully, if Luca and Simon can join, this is going to be a very special, unique version of this weekly sync that we do. Thank you guys all for coming. We always started out with intentions and distractions. So I'll just give you the rundown to start. So intentions for this call is really to give Simon and Luca the floor to describe the code base that they made for the Common Simulator game, which is a really cool game that shows kind of the dream of the Common Stack, where it's like normal people could come together as a community and actually design their own economy around the public goods they want to create. And this is the first kind of explainer that we have that's actually fueled by cadCAD in the back end. So it's a pretty cool project, and Marco made incredible designs that Simon and Luca brought to life with a front-end code base. And so they're moving that code base for us into GitHub, and now this is something the Common Stack has control of. And of course, they'll probably be around for a few updates here and there, but really we want to give this back to the Common Stack community and see how we can unleash it, maybe make more levels and these sorts of things. So the intentions for this call are really just to allow you guys to see kind of the mindset behind the code base, and then see where we go from there. Yeah, and as far as distractions, I get a beautiful view in Ecuador. Sometimes I just gaze off into it. So it's very nice. And other than that though, and trying to get Luca and Simon here, I have no distractions. I'll pass it to Marco.
Thanks, Griff. Thanks. This was really great introduction of what we're expecting from this call and from this game that we're building. Intentions, similar to you, basically, to see the handover process and to see how we're going to take it from there, and possibly maybe get some estimates on the timelines of the development. And as far as the distraction goes, I'm already sitting here for 3 or 4 hours. I can't sit anymore, but that's basically it. I'm passing it on to Sam.
Hello. That's super cool. Thanks, Marco. For my side, the intention is to see the code, how is it inside of it, especially for the conviction and threshold levels, because I have been hacking during this week on the threshold formula, and I think that it's something that could be added lately into the simulation. But I didn't have so much time to hack on the actual code of the simulation, because as distractions I am in many other things that are related to Common Stack, but are taking most of my time and couldn't work with that. But I'm super glad to be here and understand the code. And if it cannot be today, it can be in another moment. I am going to pass it to Amin.
Hello, happy to be here. I'm not distracted. My intention is to see this product and become familiar with its code base, and the mindset of the designers, what this product will do. And yeah, I pass it to Matthew.
Sure, man. Hey, everyone. Happy to be here. This is my first call in this, so I'm really excited to see what's all of this about and check out the code base as you explained it. Intentions is to really see what's up with everything. No distractions, and happy to be here. I'll pass it to Sean.
Oh, Sean, you're muted.
Oh,
let
me see.
Oh, you're good.
Where
we can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. Bit of lag, maybe. Yeah, just really happy to be here intentions are to get to see this demo. Looks awesome. I just opened up the link. The design is amazing. And yeah, get to know, like Amin said, what everyone's mindset is, and hopefully get to collaborate with all of you on the code base moving down the future. And distractions, not really any distractions. I'm in a good place. I was doing a PC build over the past month or so, and I was just running Windows for a couple weeks, but I got my Linux going now, so I'm feeling all powerful. Yeah, so no distractions now. I'm feeling great. And yeah, I'll pass it over to Vitor.
Hi guys, my intentions are mainly to understand a little bit more the front end and see how does it works with this simulation, and probably hoping to maybe can work in this later in the front end and understanding how things work together. And my distractions, I think my dogs are barking a lot, not now, but they were, so maybe I'll get a little bit distracted with it. And I'll pass it to Simon.
I think Simon went off to chase down Luca, but oh, and then Santi did Santi just drop? And then Santi just dropped, who is the last person to go.
Yeah, I think Simon is chasing down Luca.
But to start, we can, we'll see if Luca comes, and if not, we might have to reschedule, which is too bad. But I'll show you guys I'll share screen, and well, actually, do you want to do it, Marco? Do you want to share screen and give people the presentation of like the design and the thought? You might be able to do it better than that.
Yeah. Just a second. Let me just open it up for you. And
I will say that there are a few things that are still in the works. We're still tweaking the narrative a little bit. We have an illustrator who's making new pictures to kind of fit more of a theme. And so it's not done yet, but the front end architecture and all of that is pretty solid. So we're looking at the handover to the community.
yeah. Okay, so this is the common simulator. Ta-da! It's okay, so basically you're entering here the common simulator game. We give you a short introduction of what is this all about. It's important for you to watch the intro. Don't skip it, so watch the intro. As Griff said, we're most probably going to be changing some of the images or stuff here and there, but basically you get a walkthrough of what this is all about. We're setting a scene here, so sit back, relax, immerse in this content over here, and try to put yourself in this new future that you're about to experience. So you read a little bit about it, and then after this intro, when you get the whole idea what this is about, you are most likely be better set to create your new comments. I'm just gonna skip through this pretty quickly. Here you gotta enter your name. It's optional, but just enter your name. It's cool. And again, like here we have a little bit more setting a scene where you're actually heading right now. It's a whole story, so we try to put the whole narrative into this game. You have been chosen to bring back cadCAD in time, so you have to read the whole stuff. And this is the first illustration, by the way, from Jody, and she's going to be working on other illustrations. We're going to swap them with the ones that we had previously done. These are the old ones now here. So you read about your missions, read about the commons, you get information about it, and you can start designing your commons. And all right, so the first thing about designing your commons, you have to define how your founding members, how many, we call them hatchers. So how many hatchers will you choose to initial your radical exchange commons, which you read about previously in the intro, so you know all about it. So you can then choose between 3 or 150 hatchers. And if you move this slider, it gets a little nicer. So you actually see, the people here. The next, all right, cool. So you define your hatchers. You define how many proposals should be collected for the hatchers to kick off your voting for your comments. The next, oh, cool, you're on roll. You read about a little bit more about the funding pools. And you're guided into the next step where you have to allocate, funds to both funding pool and the commons reserve. So you can play around with the slider and see how much you want to allocate to funding pool or whether to commons reserve. And by the way, during this, we're actually collecting those parameters so that we send it off to the cadCAD later on, and then cadCAD will do the calculations, and then they will then spit out those graphs and charts, which you then can preview and see how you actually design your comments in your future. And okay, so here we got on the fourth step, we have the voting power. So you have to decide how much goes to the funding pool. After that, you have to define how much time should pass before individual voting power reaches 80% or the conviction voting. So you can switch between 3 days, 30 days, 10 days, or you can enter your own number. The charts gets automatically updated. And you're almost there. One more thing, you will need to find what percentage goes to the funding at the exit. And you can then again move the slider and see how that translates. How much goes to your wallet, how much goes to the funding pool. Obviously, you don't want to get too much of your wallet. You want to get the funding pool because you want to support the commons. But you can play around it however you want and see what kind of future you have actually designed. It could be a good future or a bad future. You're going to find that out actually later on. So we collected all parameters for the cadCAD here, and you can actually start and hit the button and run the simulation. Now this information is being sent to cadCAD. It really depends how much time the cadCAD needs to actually do the calculations. So you have to wait a little bit. Okay, the simulation failed. This is not on me. I have no idea what's going on.
Try it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it one more time.
I think try having fewer founding members.
Yeah, could be that. Could be that. Yeah.
That's usually the big limit.
Yeah. Okay. So and that's a good thing because you can actually go back here and actually Okay, I got it 137. So I'm gonna have
try maybe 10.
Or 20.
20.
And then I need to, but this is the thing, I need to go next. Oh.
You cannot go to the last step.
Yeah. This is a good thing. Oh, okay. Maybe you can actually, but I didn't try that out.
I think it's not possible. Yeah.
All right, let's see if that works with 20. Okay, it works. Awesome. The simulation is finished, and cadCAD was actually blazing fast here with the calculations, and you actually get those charts, which then explain your job, how you actually design the comments. And I'm not the super expert here to explain those charts, so someone else might take over. But anyway, you will probably get some glossary here or example charts, what would be the best outcome or how the chart supposed to be looking for the most optimal outcome or the future of or your comments that you're actually designing. Once you're, review the charts and you're okay with that, you can then go back to the future or play again. Basically, going back to the future is previewing what kind of future you have built. So it could be a good future or a bad future. In this case, it's a good future. And okay, I made a high score. That's awesome. And I can then probably share that on Twitter or whatever, or I can start playing again. So this is just a brief, okay, not brief, it was like 10 minutes, but overview of the Common Simulator game.
Cool. Well, let's pass it to Simon. Yeah, that was great, Marco. Thank you, man. But let's pass it to Simon and hear what the plan is.
I lost my unmute button. Okay, so I got a little bit of a bad news in terms that Luca didn't make it. I can't really reach him right now, and I wasn't really planning on joining. I was supposed to send him. Might have been my bad because I haven't reminded him during the day. But I was expecting he was going to be online, but now I can't reach him. And the reason why this is bad news because he was actually the dude that developed the front end code, and I was hoping that he can show the guys the code and his architecture designs, decisions, and things like that, and how it all works. But now we're kind of left empty-handed.
That's okay. You know,
Yeah,
this is good. This is a good part one. We can leave people in suspense, and we can do the front end handover maybe next week on Tuesday.
Yeah, then I was maybe just going to ask if Marco, because I also haven't talked to him since last week, if there are any last changes that we need to do, so we can maybe push them in before then next Tuesday, so that we don't have too much of like empty, you know.
Yeah, right now we don't have everything finalized, other than the revisions that I already sent to Luca, which I think he already has done. I just went through the demo, and it seems that he has already done those. I know that he's still working on the order changes, and I'm still expecting the illustrations from Jody, and I reached out to Jody. By the way, this is an update now. So I reached out to Jody, and she did not reply to me yet. So I don't think we're gonna have everything done by the end of this week. So most probably we're gonna be sending you guys that revisions list next week after the weekly sync or something like that.
Okay, then, apologize to all the guys who came to the call expecting a long development conversation. Sorry to disappoint you a bit, but then I'll spank Luca a bit and make sure he comes next week. And in the meantime, I'll make sure he pushes the latest codes. I don't know if you guys have the access to the repository. I think it's on, we have it both on open source or on our own GitLab account, but we also made a duplicate on the Commons GitHub page. So I think, just let me find it a second.
Or maybe a suggestion, you guys, if you have time for a call, maybe tomorrow, or even
yeah, we can do something
week.
like that, of course. Yeah,
but it really depends on everybody on the call here. If
Griff, if you can organize it, maybe we can do a call tomorrow, like half an hour, just for the development.
It would be really nice to do it next week. I'm actually on vacation. I'm kind of my girlfriend's so happy that I'm here right now. So I'm supposed to be like hanging out. So it'd be really, really good to do it next week at this time.
Okay, looks good.
At least for me.
Can you tell us which is the repo in Commons Stack organization in GitHub?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, and I'm going to pass both of the links. Just give me a sec.
I think it's Common Simulator, but I'm not sure about it.
I think it's the web client, but I'm not sure also. I think the app started for 7 days. Yeah, I think it's this one. Let me just check a second.
Yeah, Common Simulator is
yeah, I think it's the web client. Yep.
Web client. Great. Yeah.
So yeah, I can pass it in Telegram, or do you want this?
Telegram.
Just a second.
And if anyone isn't in the Telegram channel, it's at t.me/csddev. Common Stack Decentralized Dev Team. So definitely join that Telegram chat if you're not in there already. And I'll put it in here, I guess.
Okay, and there's another link that is our own private GitLab instance. It's also public, so it's a public repository, but it's just there because we use certain pipelines that build off it. So you can just really check the latest of the latest here. And I'll talk to Luca as soon as I can and make sure that he publishes the latest of the code on your own, on the GitHub page as well.
Cool.
So that's
and if we have issues, can we make issues in the GitHub?
Yeah, I think it's better because in the whole idea of an open source, and since basically the core is there, we've done the majority of our work, and let's give chance for everybody else to contribute, since it was that kind of a project since the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So
I will say, go ahead.
yeah, I just want to say, I would like maybe also ask Marco, if you guys want, we can put all of the feedbacks with your references, and all the change requests that we have in the future, we can keep them on the repository there. I think they have lots of tools that we can use. So in that way, everybody included in the comments can actually follow, you know.
That'd be super cool.
Makes sense.
There are a few small changes that need to be upgraded to the front end from what I saw, like the graph that goes like this, that has like 2 bumps.
Yeah.
It should really just be like, it shouldn't have 2 bumps. It should just be
got it. A logarithmic thing.
Yeah. And then the graphs at the end.
I wanted to work on this week, so I couldn't, but I would like to give a hand in that specific part.
Well,
Yeah.
I think repository is already set and issues are open, so you can already start writing, and we can, you know, put everything from our system is a bit of closed because we're a company. So I think at this point we can just open as much stuff as we can and get people feedback as much as we can, and contributions as much as we can, you know.
The other one is the graphs that actually come up. It's too bad Andrew's not here too, but maybe Vitor or Santi can talk to this. But the graphs that are actually coming up are still kind of the old graphs that are token supply and collateral, or token supply and something else, that are not actually the ones that we want. We want sentiment, collateral funds, and token price. I don't know, Vitor or Santi, do you guys? Yeah.
Actually, in the simulation, in the common simulation, we already updated this. So we are sending to the JSON, to the front end, the token price and the sentiment. But I'm not sure if the cadCAD that's running in the front end that you showed is the same in the GitHub. I think they're separate, right?
Yeah. So I think we need to connect. So
yeah,
I think we need to connect the cadCAD that you guys are working on to the front end still. Yeah. And then because that should hopefully also fix the like problems when there's too many participants, because that will I think that's basically fixed, or at the very least we might have to cap it anyway.
We are finishing like the random state changing, and we're starting like integration tests. I'm not sure like if the best way is to wait a little bit to finish all the integration tests, get sure that everything is like well round and fine, and then send in there. I'm not sure it's the best way.
Yeah, I mean, for sure it'd be good to make sure that we're showing the right graphs. So even if it still breaks sometimes, it'd be better to make sure that we're, in my opinion, that the right graphs are coming out.
As far as I understand it, I'm sorry that Luca is not here at the moment, but as far as I understood it, Luca basically created an environment file and a few configuration files from the graphs. Now, I haven't looked at it and don't know really how deep is the customization, but I'm guessing you can like have the axis and then put whatever you need on them. You know, that would seem like a reasonable way to use graphs, and you know what to make the variable apart. So I'm guessing if you're satisfied with the general shape and size and you know the general, should I say, capability of the graph, what can actually be plotted in it, then I think it's just a matter of fixing up a few variables in the environment file, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think what I'm trying to say is let's just agree if the visuals and the capabilities of the graphs are okay in terms of the data sets that can we expect, and so that the graph can actually you know, preview the data properly, and then you know, getting what's on the which axis and how many lines it should have and what's the, you know, grid size. Those are all like variables that can easily be tweaked.
Perfect. Cool. Well, you know, I want to end this one early. It was a bit of a false start, but since we are here, I would love for Vitor and Santi or Marco to give any updates that they have, and then we can push it for next week. And hey, everyone who's here, you have a chance to, you know, get a head start, next week, Luca is going to do a deep dive into the front end code. But if you want to peruse it, or if you have any issues to make that you saw when you're looking at the design, feel free. I know I'm definitely going to make some issues this week in the GitHub repo. So
before we pass to the cadCAD, can I ask something?
Sorry, guys.
Simon, can we add a license in the a license file in the repo, and everything in the repo is going to be under that license? Is that correct? That there are no dependencies that are not open source?
Well, I would actually have to check this with Luca. I'm guessing there might be some, open source libraries that could be included. So yeah, I think we should look into that. I think if it's open source, it should be classic MIT open source license, right?
we usually do GPL.
Oh, right. Well, sure, right. But I'm guessing we don't do anything exotic than what you usually do with open source. It's either GPL or MIT, or I don't think. I'll ask. And yeah, I mean, at this point, as I said, it's easy as making a pull request, because we're going to focus more and more on the Commons repository, let's say starting this week. So I'll make sure that Luca primarily commits there, and we use our repository normally for building the website. And I think we also, Griff, discussed this at some point, the setting up of the DevOps the server and everything, which should take let's say a week or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it happened, but Kai and Luca are supposed to hang out and
okay.
So.
Okay. Well, since Luca's not here, let's say we're late a week, and so there's a free week to squeeze that in.
Okay, so we are going with the AGPL license, but all the dependencies that you are using, they can be open source. That's
that's
okay.
The sum up. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I will do a pull request then.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
And probably also change the name of the repository. So instead of web client, it can be Common Simulator Frontend or something like that. If you want.
I mean, it's basically it's your code, your repository, and the community effort. So from the I'm handing over the reins. So I did it at first, in terms of how it looked, logical to me. But I'm fine with it. You just let me know if you're going to change it or should I, and that's it.
That's going to be super cool to have that and hack on that.
Yeah, that's cool. I also haven't had the opportunity for some time to actually be included in some kind of a large community project. So I'm, I'll just get there to read the issues and have my popcorn ready.
Nice. Well, Marco, did you have any updates on the week that you want to go through?
No, just what I mentioned about Jody. I'm still waiting for her to get back to me. I pinged her yesterday, today as well. I guess Danny will know more where she is, or maybe she's just being busy. She's getting back to me on how she's progressing on the illustrations, because we stuck on we didn't stuck. But we actually came to the part where we have to define the face.
Mm-hmm.
And that the face is really important. And that's the only update I have. And also, I know that Danny has been working on the editorial changes. She's passed the intro, as she posted already in the Telegram, and I assume she will be done this week. So I know she's from quick work as well. Other than that, no further updates. Oh yeah, and what I sent to Luca has already been done. So
cool. Okay, well let's pass it to Vito. Vito, any updates on cadCAD?
That's it.
Okay. Last week I told you guys about the randomness. Remember, like toggling. Then I sent pull requests, and then it was working. But Andrew and Santi gave me some feedbacks on how to improve it, like to get more readable code. And then I updated this, so it is done. And then, like, since we have the randomness, I started doing the integration tests. So get sure that every step of is working fine and working together. And alongside with it, I'm adding like other unit tests that were in there. So the idea is get every function there with unit tests. There were like several ones that were missing. So I'm working that, and the expectations like in the next meeting next week to have the testing finished on few more days to feedback on Andrew and Santi, and then I think this testing part will be like the first step of this will be done.
Nice. And Santi, Santi's having some internet problems, but hey, Santi, did you have any updates you wanted to share on cadCAD?
Hello. Hey. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you great.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Basically, during this week, I keep working on the sensitivity analysis for the outcomes of the simulation. I sent some graphs to Andrew and Victor to show them that basically the model isn't too sensitive to changes in the 6 input parameters that we sent from the front end. So I started to dig a little bit into what are the specific parts of the simulation where these input parameters are involved. And I also plot some other graphs. I don't know if I can share my screen now, or should I give just a brief summary? Okay.
No, you can share your screen.
Okay.
So just a background on what Santi's working on. You know, there's like, I don't know, 20 parameters that are actually in the simulation, maybe even more, that we have to pick. But we want to make sure that the 6 parameters that the users pick actually change the graphs. So now we have to do a little tweaking to the code base to actually make sure that when someone changes from, you know, 10 hatchers to 12 hatchers, that actually has an impact on the outcome of the comments.
Yeah. So, well, here on my screen, I can show you that in terms of funding pool and token price, the graph isn't actually getting different by changing these different input parameters. For example, funding pools, it always goes down, and in token price, it always goes up. So you can see here, for example, no one is selling. Well, the number of speculators that sells the tokens are not greater than the amount of people that buys tokens through the bonding pool, right? So that's something that I still need to tweak a little bit in simulation. And in terms of average sentiment, there's some changes in the sentiment along the time of the simulation, but in general, the difference between different graphs aren't very. There's not much difference, let's say. So what I did is I just close this here in these graphs. I am basically trying to find where's the point where the common simulator gets like the maximum average sentiment. So this is like the red graph here in different in these different graphs, the red line, sorry, and this black dot is like the difference between the max. How many? What's the difference between the maximum sentiment and the from the okay, just let me rephrase this. Basically, the black dots here, it shows when the average sentiment is at least one, or when is at least at some okay. Yeah, the black dots here shows that how different the sentiment is from the what is the deviation of the sentiment at that point with respect to the maximum sentiment. Yep. So that's what's basically like an heuristic or a greedy approach that I am experimenting to get like what is to get or to give like if this simulation was successful or not, right? So in these graphs at this moment, mostly of the results are not much different from the maximum sentiment that we get, but I think that if I tweak the simulation parameters, I can use this heuristic in order to find if the simulation is successful or not, by just analyzing or evaluating how different was the sentiment at the end with respect to the maximum sentiment at some point in the simulation. So that's basically some analysis that I have been doing.
It looks super cool, Santi. Super cool. Are you using the random or discrete setting? Like, are you using like the randomness thing that Vito just added, or are you?
Well, for these graphs, I didn't use this random state that Vito implemented. But right now, I'm actually using the pull request that he has done so far to keep analyzing the results. But for this graph, I didn't use the random state.
I mean, that makes sense. It makes sense. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'd have some weird variance. Any other questions for Santi on this work?
One thing that I had the feeling of, but I'm not sure if it happens, it might be a good test, looks like almost all the functions that give the outputs do not directly directly rely on the inputs that the user put in there. And as I was looking to the results, like the outputs, it seems like that changing the input parameters, you just offset the curves, right? Like it doesn't seem that changing a lot the inputs, you change the behavior of the curves. I'm not sure if it makes sense.
The results aren't too sensitive to the inputs at the moment. Yeah, because basically, I think it was 4 of the 6 input parameters aren't changing anything in the simulation. So they are only used for bootstrapping the network object. And that's why the simulation doesn't get any change, doesn't get many much different from if you change these parameters, right? So the only input parameter that at this moment the simulation is kind of sensitive is the days that to get like 80% of max voting weight. Yeah, so here is 6. If you take a look at this, I'm not so sure if you can see it. Yeah, if you see here this graph when you have like a lot of black dots at the right. Yeah, this is the only graph that I get like where this average sentiment is the difference between the average sentiment and the maximum sentiment during the simulation is getting it's much different. Yeah, but I still need to tweak the simulation in order to get like different graphs.
Yeah. One suggestion that I would give to you, I'm not sure if you have thought about it, but there are a few rates in the code, like success rate, failure rate, that are fixed. So I think almost everything is like in the config files. They are like the constant that we use, and these rates do not rely on the inputs. So like the rate in which the proposals fail or get completed do not rely on the inputs. And there are several other rates that impact on this. So that might be some case for these results in some part, maybe. It would be nice to check this out, and maybe thinking how we can like change a little bit these rates to they get impacted on the input, so we can get like some gamification or something like that.
Yes, yesterday, for example, I was exploring with the I think it's called sentiment sensitivity something is the config parameter. Sentiment sensitivity, for example. Yeah, I was sweeping this config parameter, but it basically it just changed the token price, but the trend of the line in the graph is the same. So it's just the token price keeps growing up, but it never goes. The token price never goes down.
We
Yeah,
definitely need to
so-
figure out a way to increase the selling pressure based on sentiment. If sentiment goes down, people should be selling, and I don't think that's there in the cadCAD model.
Yeah.
Just doing some like maybe we need to have a breakout session on cadCAD to like do some sanity checks on the results, and that would be really fun. But
Yeah.
I want to try to end this one early. I want to say, Santi, your work is incredible, and we need this to make the game fun to play. So thank you for diving in. It's really critical work, and obviously Vito as well, man. You guys are really coming in to save the day on this project. So thank you. But I want to let everyone go early so that we can be ready for next week where we'll actually have the handover. So
yeah, sure, cool.
Well, cool guys. Thank you for coming. I hope you guys can block off this hour next week where we'll do a deep dive into the front end code, and the front end team can do the community handover. Cool. I think I'll leave it at that. We don't need to do a closing round or anything, and we'll just enjoy our day. So
See you guys.
thank you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming, Sean.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.